What's TRI reporting? How much does it cost? And what happens if you miss the deadline? If you're asking any of these questions, you're in the right place. TRI reporting can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Today, I'll walk you through what it is, what it costs, and why you need to watch out for it. Hey there, I'm Ruhlin with Resource Management Associates, your environmental experts. And today, we're talking about TRI reporting, also known as Toxic Release Inventory Reporting. First things first, TRI reporting isn't just for huge industrial sites. It applies to a wide range of facilities that use certain chemicals. Every year, we hear from companies that either missed a filing, got a notice from the EPA, or simply don't know where to start. Every year, operations need to submit a report to the EPA about the materials at your site that are released to the environment. That's literally the R in TRI. There's thresholds to meet, but the quick takeaway is this. It's annual reporting on releases of toxic chemicals. More on this in a second. Let's first talk about cost and time because those are the questions we get most. In general, TRI reporting can run anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 or more. Most facilities should budget a few $1,000s for reporting, filing costs, and professional help if you need it. Why the range? It depends on what you do, what materials you use, your release pathways, and whether you've reported before, and how organized your data is. Timing works the same way. The annual deadline is July 1st. Think of it like tax day. You cannot start your taxes the day they're due, and the same goes for TRI reporting. From evaluating to crunching numbers to filing a report, the process takes a few weeks to a few months. So plan ahead, especially if it's your first time reporting. And don't forget, penalties under EPCRA are over $70,000 per day per violation. Missing the deadline gets expensive very quickly. Let's talk about common problems. One of the biggest is poor information tracking. Things like not knowing what chemicals or materials were purchased or how they're used on site. Safety data sheets are often outdated or incomplete, which makes analyzing usage harder than it should be. So if you're the EHS person or you have a dedicated health and safety team, get together and start making sure your SDSs are complete and current. Another huge issue is denial. People hear chemicals and assume they don't have any or not enough to matter. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes it's not. I've seen small ready-mix concrete operations trigger TRI thresholds just from the hazardous components in cement. It happens in more industries and with simpler materials than most people realize. The most common problem? People come to us way too late, sometimes after the July 1st deadline or with no data and a hope for a miracle. And yeah, we hear the grumbling, why do I have to do this if nobody's asked? But that's like driving without insurance. You might be fine until you're not. Then it's a mess and it gets painfully expensive. And just to clear up some confusion, TRI reporting is not the same as Tier 2 reporting. Yes, they're both under EPCRA, but the requirements, deadlines, and agencies are completely different. Think of it property taxes versus income taxes. Same broad category, but totally different rules. Now, not everyone needs to file. It depends on your operation, your workforce size, and the amount of toxic chemicals you manufacture, process, or use. These are those thresholds I mentioned before. Even if you do need to report, that doesn't always mean you need a consultant. Some companies are well equipped to handle it in-house, and that's great. It's like taxes. Some folks use TurboTax, some do it by hand, and others hire a CPA. We tend to work with companies that need outside help because the DIYers already have it covered. So what should you expect? First, understand what TRI reporting is and what it means for your facility. You're going to need to be involved, especially in the first year. Expect the process to take anywhere from a couple of weeks to a few months, depending on your operation and whether you're doing it yourself or bringing in outside help. If you were to hire us, here's what we'd do. We'd evaluate your operation, crunch the data, get on site to do inventories, determine chemical throughputs, quantify releases, prepare the forms, and then submit. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's the basic process that we, or really any environmental professional, needs to follow to do TRI reporting the right way. What makes us different at RMA is simple. We don't hand TRI reporting off to interns or run it through a generic software tool. We do the work start to finish with experienced professionals who know that no two facilities are alike, therefore no two reports should be either. We get to know your operation, Crunch the numbers and make sure your reports are accurate and submitted on time. Because remember, this information is public. You want it to accurately reflect how you operate. And once the reports are filed, the best feedback we get is silence. No agency follow-up, no government questions, no surprise inspections. That means the report was accepted without issues, and that's exactly the goal. If there's one thing I want you to take away, it's this. TRI regulations are confusing and the stakes for noncompliance are high. The list of chemicals is long, the definitions are technical, state-level wrinkles can complicate things, and figuring out release pathways isn't always straightforward. Waiting until the last minute almost always makes it harder, riskier, and more expensive. So if you think you might need to file or just want an expert to double check, reach out. Call us, email us, or fill out the form on our website. We're not here to scare you. We're here to make the process as smooth and painless as possible. Let's work together to get your TRI reporting done right and on time. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Ruhlin with Resource Management Associates, your environmental experts. Talk soon.